Glad you could join us for our junior intermediate streaming. I'm Chris, this is instructor Brad. We're going to start off with a nice light warm-up. So let's kick up our heels to start with. As we do this, let's just pop around in a circle. Good in the other direction. And then bouncing from side to side. Good. Now we're going to ask you to bounce front back and kind of leave your head in the same spot. Good, nice. Right into your V-stepping. Hands are up. V-stepping with an opposite strike or a punch. Step left, punch right. Step right, punch left. Good. Now bring those elbows in. And as you're feeling like you're starting to warm up, you can speed up a little bit. Good, and shaking out the hands. And then just pausing the legs and going into a hip rotation. Nice and light. If the two old guys can do this and not get locked up, then you guys should be okay. Good, let's change the direction. Nice. Good. We're going to throw overhand crosses now. Elbows are in. We're just going to throw them down across our body. Just get that feel. Throw the punch down like you're hitting into a target, into a person, and you're pushing the weight down. Now, as you start to do this, start to bend your knees more. So your body's going down with the punch. Good. And then straight into opposite hooks. As you're doing your alternating hooks, you can set up your hands so that I'm doing one vertical, one horizontal. All right. Typically, I like to keep them the same, throwing vertical punches with my hooks. Good, and shake it out. Rolling the shoulders and uppercuts. Let's look at a ball heel exchange. One hand is stay nice and still while you're doing your uppercut. With the other hand, use your body to come up into the punch. Nice, good job. Excellent, and shake it out again. Nice. From here, we're just gonna go across the body with an outstretched arms. Loosen up the shoulders a little bit more. Nicely done. Straight into quarter squats. Feet shoulder width apart. Going down about 25%. Let's go down 30. Let's go to 40. Let's go to 50% or half squats. Legs are pretty much parallel with that mat. Go nice and slow into the bottom. Nice and smooth out. And back up with our shoulders right above our hips. Nice. Good job. Straight in from there into number 4 elbows on the same side. So the right leg is back. Good. Lifting up that heel, rotating in. Now staying in the same stance, you're going to switch elbows. Now you're doing an elbow off the lead leg. So your foot's going to go ball heel exchange, and your foot's going to point in the same direction that your hit is. This is your number 4 elbow off your lead side. Good. One more and shake it out. Nice. Okay, we're going to go into knee hugs with our support being up against the wall if you can at your house. If not, you can just do it in the open area. We're just going to gently lean up against the wall. Grab your knee. As you grab your knee, hug it up towards your chest. Give it a big hug. Give it a kiss if you can. Good. And then switch sides. Notice when Brad's grabbing his knee, starts off gentle out front, gradually starts to pull it in. Some of you younger kids are going to be able to pull that quad right up to your chest, and that's ideal. Once you get the knee as high as you can, let's switch to the side. Once you get that knee as high as you can, then let go of it now and use your leg muscles to hold it into place. Good. Let's count to 1,000. 90, 198. No. Okay, good. Switch. Other side. Pull it in first. Get it nice and high, really close to your chest, and then hold it there. That's going to work all the muscles like your hip flexors to maintain that knee height and that nice high range of motion. And down. Good. And just shaking it out a little bit. Now we're going to go face the camera with you. We're going to go into open X stances. So our left foot stays straight. Our right foot steps forward at shoulder width and lands with the ball and heel. And they're now crossed perpendicular to our back foot. We have a reverse lead because our right leg is in front. And that means normally our right hand's in front. But because of the way the hips are orientated and we have a nice twist in the hips and we're bending our knees, then our left hand should be out in front. We come back, couple of steps. Now we step out with our left side, twisting that foot. Now we're going to a right lead. So now we have an open X stance. Come on back, couple of steps. Left lead, come back, couple of steps. Good. We just keep alternating sides with our open X stance. You'll notice that Instructor Brad starts doing this towards me. One aspect of the open X as he steps in is he can point kick that leg. His hips are already chambered up for that position, and that's a nice way to use your open X stance. Another open X stance is we're going to both face the camera, but now we're going to move to our left and to our right as if we're doing a side kick. So from here, we're in a small horse stance. We face our arms and chest and head towards that area. I step in behind, open X. If I turn this way, I'm right where I was before. I come back to my horse stance. Now I step with our right leg in behind into our open X. Again, if I turn this way, just like we were before. And now just going back and forth. I'm going to ask Instructor Brad to pause on this next one. Most common mistake is the hip doesn't turn up. Let your hips come right around. It may be that you are not able to see with your neck if you have limited shoulder flexibility, neck flexibility, but you want your spine facing your opponent on this type of open X. Thank you, sir. Good. Shuffling the feet again, loosening up. Good. Let's go into high rising heel kicks to start with. We're going to start really low, so right leg back, please, June B. Stretching out the hamstring, lower back. We're coming in, tapping our legs, switching sides, and then the other side. Good. Nice and low. I would say start off below your waist so you can get your legs straight. Most people are going above their waist, but their knees are bent. So let's keep it nice and low. Good. Now that we're warmed up a little bit, we're going to go into the same kick, but with a pendulum step that we're reviewing with you. So in a pendulum step, we're right leg back in our broken bow stance. Someone, let's say, is kicking out our front leg, our lead leg. We just want to get rid of it, but we want to stay close enough to counter. So I swing my leg back, touch and come back. I'm not shifting back and putting weight on that leg. I'm simply all the way, weight stays on my back right leg, and I touch with my left, I can counter, and I can come back. Now we do it with a high rising heel kick. So we go pendulum, step kick, pendulum, step kick, pendulum, step kick, and so on and so forth. We continue. So you notice Instructor Brad's just going nice and smooth, pendulum with that left leg, kicking with his right, keeps the hips really flowing. Let's do 4 more. 2, 3, last one. And puck watch sides. Right. So now we have the right leg in front, so the right leg is going to be pendulum back. He steps forward to the right, kicks with the left. Steps back right, steps forward right, kicks left. Just continue to follow Instructor Brad as he stretches out his hamstrings, lower back with a pendulum, high rising heel kick. Let's get 4 more in. 1, 2, 3, and last one, 4. Very good. From here, just going to go into a hip twist. Nice. Okay, and bro, we're going to go diagonal to the camera. We're going to start off with what's called the sprinter's jog. Again, the sprinter's jog is about developing flexibility for the martial artist. So basically what we're doing is we're alternating our hands with pumping of our knees. So my left hand's going to go up with my right knee going up, and I go 1. Then I step down, other side, 2. So it's opposite. Left hand up, right knee up. Right hand up, left knee up. Now don't think about it because that's normally the way you walk and run. So let's go ahead and just do what's called the sprinter's jog. So from here, I just start off slowly moving and then finally running. And the idea is to run slow, but pick your knees as high as you can. How are we doing out there? Good. Now we're just going to stop and just get the opposite action going. where instead of bringing your knees up, we're bringing our heels up. And then slowly speed that one up. Chest slightly forward, leaning forward, but kicking up your heels. And boom, good job. Now Instructor Brad and I are going to do wall push-ups. So if you have a couch, that will work. A countertop will also suffice. Maybe a sturdy chair. A lot of parents will not be happy if you're putting your oily fingerprints on the wall. But if there is a place to put your hands on the wall, that might work as well. We're going to use this wall. We're going to start off hands, shoulders apart. Our feet are about arm distance away from the wall. From here, we bring our nose gently to the surface and then slowly push away. From there, we push off. One hand goes down hip height, other hand stays at shoulder height. Again, we touch our nose, push off, switch hands, push off, switch hands. And ideally, you're probably going to want to do 20 to 40 of these. We'll probably do around 12. But you want to keep going until you start to really feel those muscles working, which are triceps, pectoralis, lats and shoulder muscles, or deltoids being the stabilizers. Good. Now we're going to come back to a narrower push-up. Thumbs are just touching. From here, I'm simply going down, touching my nose, and pushing out again. Down, touching my nose. Good, so that would be my wall push-up. This particular variation really accentuates your triceps. So it's minimizing the action of the pectoralis muscles, your chest muscles, and it's really focusing or isolating those tricep muscles. Still using your shoulders and lats as stabilizers, and the pec as well. Now, from here, we go wide. So we were thumbs together. Now we're gonna go hands wider than our shoulders, nice straight back, and let our nose touch. This should be done slow and smooth so that you're feeling your muscles working. If you're feeling them slow and smooth, you also notice if there's something that's not feeling quite right, and you can start to adjust your hands to make it easier on your shoulders. This would be particularly true for any young people out there with shoulder injuries, or of course older people who have accumulating shoulder injuries over their lifetime, like air miles. So we're going to take our hands and we're going to dial them out, which puts a different perspective for your shoulder. Might make it a lot easier for you. And of course you can dial them in as well, which I usually find a little tougher on my shoulders. Good. Thanks, Instructor Brad. Sir. Good. Now we're going to go to the wall again, but Instructor Brad's going to lean up against the wall and go down into a sitting wall position. Again, you can do this. Usually you have to have a wall to do this, or some sort of vertical structure. Good. And we're just going to hold that position. Now the idea here is to start off with a little bit of a slant, but eventually over time you can get it down so you're just completely at a parallel position with your quads. But I wouldn't recommend that to start off with. The objective here is to strengthen, not necessarily to completely wipe out your quads and they're so sore tomorrow you don't feel like you can walk around the house. Now from this position, Instructor Brad is simply going to lift up one leg and go to cross crane. Holds that cross crane, the wall helps with support, developing strength in one side and flexibility in the other. Then we switch off, go up into the other cross crane. Good, nicely done. Good balance. And then we switch again. Now, after you've done this a while, again, one hip is opening up, getting stronger. Now, let's say you're very flexible. As you go up your cross crane, you can bring your heel closer and closer and actually set it right into your hip. And you can also push down on your knee a little bit, but do it slowly so you're feeling the muscles and their stretch and you're not overactivating them, all right? Next thing we're gonna do is a wall kick. So from here, we just come out, we could do a spear kick, and then we replace that leg and do another spear kick. Good, this time when he does a kick, he's gonna pull his heel towards his glute and then kick out. In and then out, nice. And then in nice and tight and then out. Good. And then you can do all sorts of variations, but let's get away from this wall now. By the way, if you're doing this, you probably maybe want to do it for 15 seconds and then Next day, maybe build it up to 25 seconds and so on and so forth to get your strength there, okay? So now we're gonna go to some more wall kicks. So we're gonna start off here with Instructor Brad and I, left hand on the wall. Right hand here is just gonna gauge. We're gonna bring up our knee. We're gonna tuck our heel to our instep of our, or the inside of our knee of our support leg. And then as we lift up the knee, we're gonna pivot so that the heel in our support left leg is pointing towards the target. From here, we start to extend out, see our foot hitting with the heel, toes curled up, and then rechamber all the way back towards the same line, and then step down and switch hands. As you'll notice, Instructor Brad comes up, touches, extends out, hits with the heel. Everything's in a straight line. I would move this arm back on this side if you can. Notice how he's got his heel really pointed well towards his opponent, which makes this leg less susceptible to injury, and also he can control the movement of his knee much better. And then from here, he rechambers back and down, and then switches sides. So while Instructor Brad continues to do this drill, which is an essential drill, especially for the younger martial artists to practice just to get the technique down, but also for people who have been with the Tao for decades or more, and you're maybe a high belt or a black belt, and you want to work on your basics, this is constantly helping your hip to stack properly, to rotate in the right way so that you're not getting injured and you're getting a nice fluid motion out. It also takes a while to get the feel of getting those feet kind of dorsiflexed back towards you, so you're hitting with the bottom of your heel. Good. Well done, sir. Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to some stuff on the ground. So I'm going to ask Instructor Brad to face this direction and go on all fours. Or this direction is good too. All right, so he's on all fours. From here, he chambers his right knee up towards his shoulder and then does a backside kick. He looks over his right shoulder. He's hitting with his heel. He's got a nice straight line all the way through to his shoulder. And then he simply replaces his knee down, looks over the other side, chambers his other leg, and kicks out. Good. So you can see how this alignment makes the kick very strong. Good, thank you. And then he keeps alternating. So you can see how you could use this kick for self-defense, but it's also an excellent way just to practice your kicks. Nice. Good. One more, please. Now Instructor Brad's going to face the camera, still sitting down. He's going to start maybe backing up a little bit. Good, thank you, sir. We're going to go into a roll-up. In a roll-up, he's simply just hiking his body and then bringing himself into a position where he's coming up from a shoulder roll. Notice he didn't use his hands. Let's continue looking at this. He's not using his hands. He's just tucking his leg in and coming right up. One more, please, and hold. Now, when you come up, the idea is to have this knee slightly outside your shoulder, so if it can be over just a little bit more. Good. Then when he comes down forward, his shoulder clears his knee. All right, let's take a look at it one more time. He pikes up in the air, lifting his hips off the ground, tucks the leg in, and comes to that position. Now we're going to do the same thing, but it's called a windmill roll-up. I'm just going to let Instructor Brad demonstrate it at first. So he falls down onto his glute, swings his leg around, and follows it with the other leg. Good. And then he's just going to do it continuously. One roll up, up, and then falling down and switching to the other side. So the windmill is designed to actually block things. So if I can get Instructor Brad to face me sitting down on his back or on his back here. Good. So let's say his left leg has come across. I'm throwing a punch. He's blocking that, blocking the next punch as it's coming in. Now, of course, it's an unrealistic kind of distance right now. But if I had a weapon, that would be more of a realistic position. If I had a weapon there. Or if I'm really close to him, he's knocking me in the shoulders or at the elbow with his blocks. Okay. So thank you, sir. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with speed strikes. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to develop some speed and then let you work on this. This is going to be pretty quick. What controls your striking and your kicking is the antagonistic muscle. So the opposite muscle to the one that's contracting. So in this case, if I'm throwing a cross punch at my partner, The muscle that's the primary mover is the tricep. The tricep is contracting, but it's the bicep that's controlling the speed. So if the bicep is not strong enough or quick enough to control the speed, then the body will not allow you to punch quickly. It's going to protect your elbow and your shoulder from being hyperextended. So I can only go as fast as my bicep will allow. So you'll see a lot of boxers and kickers using this speed drill to enhance their fast twitch muscle fiber health and getting it ramped up. So they start at the midpoint of the punch. So here's the beginning of the punch, midpoint, end point of the punch. So at the midpoint of the punch, they go out and then they practice bringing their hand back as fast as they can. So on this side, I'm popping that hand back as quick as I can. As I'm doing that, I'm safely just touching my chest so I'm not hurting myself, and my bicep is getting that fast contraction, working on its speed. Now, if I'm actually sparring and I throw out a punch, I can probably control that punch better, allowing my body to go faster and faster. Now, the same thing is done with a kick, and I'm going to instructor Brad demonstrate that on the wall. So if you could face kind of 45 degrees here, he's going to throw out a kick and let it touch the wall, and that's the midpoint. And then he snaps it back with a rechamber, sets it back down, and then repeats. So he's touching, snaps it back, touching, and this develops that speed that helps you to be quicker with your striking, whether it be boxing or knife hands or whether it be kicks. Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you very much. We sure hope you enjoyed this this video. Got a bit of a workout. Please remember, we know this is a very short period of time, and our drills are only a few repetitions. So in order for you to get a real workout, you might want to just go ahead and play this again, or think about the drills that you were doing and repeat them over and over. Get it nice and equal on both sides. So you get a bit of a sweat going and you're feeling good, and you're really practicing either new skills or reviewing basics that are so important to keep practicing. Thank you. Have a great day. And right now we're just gonna, Instructor Brad's gonna lead me. We're just gonna get into our coach's corner for today. So what I thought might be an appropriate coach's corner, since a lot of us are very much restricted to the space that we can live in right now. And we're practicing that social distancing, and a lot of us are just staying home. And that's new for us, where it's not necessarily comfortable. And one of the things that we notice in life is that when we're outside of our comfort zone and we pay attention to it and we meet it and embrace it, we grow, we learn, we become more adaptable people. And we also then become more comfortable in a whole slew of different, let's say, changing environments that we will find ourselves in. So in order for us to be happy all the time, not just to be happy when we're in our ideal circumstances, is to allow ourselves to be pushed a little bit beyond our comfort zone. And that's what's happening to a lot of us right now. The other thing I'd like us to think about is, if we're going to be confined to a certain space, is to be really thoughtful about how we're interacting with people. Because a lot of times with our family members, our brothers and sisters, our siblings, parents, grandparents, whoever's living with you, it may be that your frustration at being cooped up a lot is now coming out in your behavior or in how you treat other people. So I'm just going to really encourage myself and you as well to be thoughtful and be aware of how you're speaking with people, how you're listening or not listening to them, because you're going to be with them, and it's so much nicer if you're pleasant, and even if they're unpleasant, you're still pleasant. So that's one of the big keys. It's always easy to do the right thing when everything's going your way, but when other people are being agitated and maybe not respectful, can you do the right thing? Can you be kind and considerate, thoughtful and truthful, without getting into lower behaviors where you're getting sarcastic or not listening or turning the cold shoulder, etc. So how you actually set up your environment in your home, where you might be confined most of the time, is huge in how you're actually treating other people. The next thing that I'd like to just chat about is time. When we are in a situation where we're taken away from our normal activities and we're confined, we may feel that time is working against us. And what we try and do is just do things that distract us from passing time. It's almost like we're taking money going, well, I have to spend this money anyway, so I'm just going to get rid of it really quick. And you're throwing away hundreds, thousands of dollars, and because you've got to get rid of it at some time, so let's just push it off. Where time is something that you can actually spend and make it work for you really, really well. So there's an old saying that a lot of inmates have in prison, is that time can do you or you can do the time. And if one prisoner looks at a sentence and goes, I got 10 years in jail, and I'm just gonna make the best of it in the sense of, I'm just gonna distract myself, and eventually it'll be over and I'll be free. Where other inmates would go, I'm gonna take responsibility, unless I'm innocent, but even then I'm gonna take responsibility to say, hey, I'm here, let's make the best of being here. Let's not waste this time, let's not distract ourselves from this sentence. Let's come out of this a better person, a better version of myself. So there are inmates that go in that are actually put into jail, and they were illiterate, and they've learned how to read and how to write in jail. And then they've gone on, depending on the length of their sentence, some of them have been released from their sentences, and they've had double, sometimes even more than 2 university degrees under their belt because they utilized their time so wisely. Now I think of myself and you at home. What is your dreams? What are your goals? Like if you wanted to be, let's say, a veterinarian when you grew up, are you taking time to try to study some stuff that would actually help you in the future with your veterinarian science? If you were a doctor, are you looking at health issues? Are you looking at different ways to learn about the human body so that by the time you get to taking university courses, this is more of a review for you than stuff that's brand new. Maybe you want to learn a language. Languages, Spanish, French, German, maybe you can pick up a language or improve that a second language you're already using. Other languages are things like mathematics or coding, computer writing, programs, music. The list goes on and on. They can be considered a language that you could be working on and enhancing your skills. Sculpting, painting, writing and music. Let's say in the future you'd love to be a comedian, or at least explore the idea of being a comedian. So you might watch a lot of comedians. You might look at videos on how comedians set up jokes with their beginning, their punchline, and how they actually do their timing. And then you might want to actually write your own jokes and then set it up and maybe with your family even perform a comic routine. But now you're enhancing your creativity. You're taking responsibility for you in this moment. So there's an old saying, only boring people are bored. And I don't think that's necessarily always true, but I'm going to repeat it. Only boring people get bored. So the people who are saying, I'm bored, and I can really relate to that being at home. I'm bored and tired of being cooped up. But now if you take responsibility for not having everybody else or screen time or Netflix or whatever be entertaining you, how about you entertain yourself and look at ways that you can use your creativity, all right, your dreams, and start to learn. Soak in it. You've got tons of time to devote to investing in your own personal growth. Anyway, I hope this helps. Have a great day. Stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.